Hey everyone, welcome to my recap showcasing how we recently spent 10 days in Japan to celebrate 6 years of our relationship. Let's jump into it. Before the real fun even begins, I wanted to capture our first experience using an airport lounge during our international layover in Vancouver. I recently got a travel credit card for the purpose of this trip, and one of the perks includes complimentary lounge stays. I was just blown away by how long I had been missing out, as we got unlimited good food and alcoholic drinks, and overall just a better place to rest at than at the gates. After landing, we boarded the train and checked into our hotel. She picked a place right at the heart of Shibuya. It was super close to the Shibuya Scramble Crossing, which is the largest pedestrian intersection in the world. I took this clip during the first time I crossed it, but I took another one later, as you'll see here, just to show how crowded it can truly get. We walked around the area for a bit more and decided that we wanted our first meal in this country to be kaiten, which is conveyor belt sushi. We originally had high hopes for the evening and planned on going out more, but at this point we were super sleep deprived from the flight and decided to call it early. Had to do a quick stop at one of their well-known convenience stores though. Woke up really early, so we went to the convenience store yet again to grab some affordable breakfast. We took our breakfast with us to Yoyogi Park, where we enjoyed the scenery and walked around for a bit before going to Meiji Jingu. It was actually really good timing that we came here on this day because they were kicking off the Meiji Jingu Autumn Grand Festival, a week-long celebration of Emperor Meiji's birthday on November 3rd. We saw these performances in front of the main shrine. This is me writing my wishes on an emma and leaving it at the shrine so that they hopefully come true. Another place we stopped by in the morning was the Shinjuku Gyoen National Garden, another scenic and quiet place amidst the big city. Afterwards, we got our first Japan ramen. We went to a really popular shopping street in the Harajuku district called the Takeshita Street. Later that afternoon, we went around the Shibuya district a bit more. The pop culture stores you see here are in a huge department store called Parco. The Nintendo and Shonen Jump ones were cool, but the Pokemon Center store was the one I personally enjoyed the most. There are a couple of Pokemon centers throughout Japan. This one exclusively has a custom t-shirt design section, but the queue for it was too long, so I did not end up doing it. We had a fancy Wagyu dinner reservation and tried out different cuts of Wagyu. Definitely was the best beef I've ever had. With that being said, what people don't warn you about is that because the meat is so fatty, it can give you digestive issues. What isn't pictured here is me being glued to the toilet later. Still a 10 out of 10 meal though. And here we are with a brand new day, starting it off with a visit to Gotokuji Temple. We love cats a lot, so you can see why this place was on our list. It was nice being in a quieter area for a bit. This neighborhood seemed to embrace its love for cats, as there were multiple cat-themed shops. quick stop for udon. While planning our trip, she knew that I am a big fan of Studio Ghibli, so she found this place called Shirohige's Cream Puff Factory. They sell cream puffs shaped like Totoro, and the shop owner is actually the sister-in-law of Hayao Miyazaki. Later that afternoon, we went to Shibuya Sky, one of the city's largest attractions as a rooftop observation deck. We specifically booked a time slot shortly before sunset, but that ended up being an L because the sky was gloomy and it even rained for a brief period of time. In the evening, we explored the Shinjuku area and it was just a huge row of colors, very cool to see. Also saw the cat animation that makes it look like it's popping out of the screen. Next day, we were prepared to take the Shinkansen to Kyoto. At the station, they have a section called Tokyo Character Street, which is a cluster of popular Japanese animated characters. Had to stop by the Ghibli store and another Pokemon Center. The station also has a whole food area, each store selling their own variation of bento boxes. This is so that passengers can pick something up and eat it while riding on the high-speed train. After a 2-hour ride to Kyoto, we dropped off our luggage and immediately went to Fushimi Inari, one of Kyoto's most popular shrines. Definitely had a crowd to it, but it does dwindle down as you progress through the path. For dinner, we checked out Pontacho Alley, which is a narrow alley lined up with izakayas, the Japanese word for bars. A lot of wagyu and skewer places. Went on a night walk in the area after. Here you'll see the Kamogawa River, and what I love about this area so much is that it's calm and all these people come here with their group of friends just to drink and relax. We ended up doing that ourselves at some point later too. And of course, what's a trip to Japan without at least one karaoke session? I did love paying half the price that I would have paid in the US. And the next morning, we passed the river again to reach our next destination. Here's a much better view of it during the day. Very clear water and no trash to be seen. Our half-day trip was to Mount Kurama, which is about an hour away by train. This was a really enjoyable item on our list because it was so serene and very few other tourists. It was really easy to get shots in without other people getting in the way. After about 2 hours, we finished the hike and landed in a stretch of ryokans, which are the traditional Japanese inns. Staying in at one of these is definitely something we would aim for the next time we visit Japan, as we would be surrounded by nature. Also at the bottom of the hike was this smaller shrine called Kifune. for about 30 minutes down back to the train station and rested up for a bit, then ventured out for the second portion of the day, starting with a visit to Nishiki Market. Here we tried foods from several different vendors. For dinner, we had yet again more kaiten. I learned that this was a dangerous meal for me because I will just keep grabbing plates from the belt with little regard for how much the bill will be until it's tallied up in the end. After dinner, we visited Kodaiji Temple. This was a different experience from the other temples we've seen so far because we went at night, which ended up being a really nice experience. Not only was the area illuminated, but there was also no crowd. To conclude the evening, we went for a nearby stroll to see the iconic viewpoint of the towering Hokkanji Temple, as well as Ninenzaka Street, both of which would have been overcrowded if we had seen them during the day. First thing on our list for the day was to take the hour-long bus to Arashiyama, which is on the outskirts of Kyoto. Checked out the popular bamboo forest, then strolled by the river while enjoying the scenery. After grabbing a bite, we purchased admission tickets to the Monkey Park, which is a 20-minute hike up a mountain. The park advises tourists to not get close to the monkeys, but they apparently aren't aware of that rule because they walk right up to you anyway. In the early evening, we set out to walk the Philosopher's Path, which got its name from a philosopher who would meditate while walking this path on his way to work. Unfortunately, we were not here while the cherry blossoms were in season, otherwise the walk would have looked much better. Back to the city area and found an all-you-can-eat barbecue spot, and it boggles my mind how affordable these are here. Food was once again great, but apparently I didn't learn my lesson from last time and once again did not have a good time in the bathroom later. The next day we only had a half day left in Kyoto and we spent it by going to another insanely popular temple, Kiyomizu-dera. I could understand how it got its popularity though, as you can look down at the city of Kyoto from the top. There was also a smaller temple to the side called Seikanji Temple that almost no one else was going to. We said our goodbyes to Kyoto and took the hour-long train to Osaka. We arrived at night and decided to spend our evening going to Osaka Castle. Again, the decision to see this at night worked out really well because there were no crowds and the illumination actually complemented the White Castle in my opinion. In the morning we went to a souffle pancake spot for breakfast, and although the wait ended up being about 1 hour, they were pretty damn good. Went to a huge department store and checked out more pop culture stores. And yes, I had to visit another Ghibli themed store. Finally got some katsu for lunch. At night, we went to the famous Dotonbori area. Yes, it was raining, but we didn't let that deter us because if we did, we would have been stuck in the hotel for half of our stay in Japan. Very cool area to be walking simultaneously next to tall, colorful buildings and a river. This next day was more of a relaxing day, as we didn't do too much aside from eating and shopping around. And with that being said, that concluded our Osaka portion of our vacation. For the final stretch of the trip, we headed back to Tokyo, except this time we stayed more on the east side. Sensoji Temple was an attraction that was literally a block away from our hotel, which she did not know at the time of making our reservation. So this was a nice surprise for us and a convenient place to check out. We went to Ueno Park, a really nice park to stroll around to see different things, including these lily pad looking plants, more shrines, and a lake that people were pedaling boats in. The Ueno Zoo is also in this park, but we didn't feel the need to go in. In the late afternoon, we went to Akihabara Street, also known as the main shopping street for anime merch. Coincidentally, we went around Sunday afternoon, which is the time in which all the streets are closed off to cars. That's why you see all these pedestrians just in the middle of the street. For our last evening here, we walked around the Sumida River near us, which gave us really good views of the Tokyo Tower as it continued to change colors. And we could actually see the tower really well from the rooftop of our hotel too. And our last meal in Japan. Here's my haul from the trip. I honestly thought I would bring back so much more stuff, but all I have to show for it are pop culture things, mainly Pokemon and some skincare products. And that's all for now. Thank you guys for your time and stay tuned for my next adventure.